or maybe you don't. Joining us now on the line, he is the Badgers Radio Network analyst. He is Mark Tauscher. Mr. Tauscher, Mark, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure. I know you guys have a great show, and it's listened to by millions of people, and it's an honor for you guys to give me a call and let me come on your program.
Well, we certainly enjoy your work on the Badgers game. Some of us even, when we remember the game is on, sync up the audio from you and Matt LePay to the TV telecast. I'm curious, as an alumnus and as certainly someone who cares about the program, what was it like to see the Minnesota Golden Gophers keep Paul Bunyan's axe on Saturday?
Yeah. It stunk. It's always difficult to watch. It's a huge rivalry, obviously, and I give P.J. Fleck and Minnesota credit. They have been able to capture it now 5 out of 9 years, which is crazy because there was a stretch where it was not even really in question who was going to be carrying that axe. We had the little trophy case built, and so for a team that struggled the way we did in the month of October, and then to come out and play as competitive and as good a football, we were peaking, I thought, at the right time. The conditions up in Minnesota should have been beneficial to us. That was not the case. And give Minnesota credit, they did what they needed to do to keep the axe up there again and kind of put a little bit of a damper on what would have been a great 3-1 month of November for this team. So very disappointing walking out of there on Saturday.
What do you think the issues were from your analyst seat? Only 7 points. The defense can only do so much. What did you see from your analyst role?
So, Jason, are you asking from the season perspective or just on Saturday?
Well, both, really, but specifically Saturday.
I think you could put I think Saturday was actually a pretty good little microcosm of how this season went. Defensively, we were really good again, very limited with what Minnesota could do, much like it was for most of the season. And unfortunately, offensively, you need to make a few big plays. We did that against Illinois. We made a few plays. Obviously, Jackson Aker with a great touchdown, toe tapper, and the big play to Vinny Anthony before the half when we brought Hunter Simmons in to do it. But the offense we didn't have it. This year, it just was not there. Playing 4 quarterbacks and 4 and 5 tailbacks and then mixing the entire offensive line other than Joe Brunner up after week 1. Way too much inconsistency with what this offense was trying to do. And I think, it's really difficult to give a big judgment on Grimes as the offensive coordinator because he had to continually maneuver and come up with different game plans and not knowing who was going to be available, and every week was different. So this season, it was offensively, we just weren't very good. And I think we ended up being the 135th out of 136 in scoring offense. And when you do that, your season's not going to go the way you hope.
Tausch, did you have any questions for Mark that you wanted to ask him?
Yeah, indeed. Tausch, I just want to say, man, I thought, obviously you're a big fan of the program, and was it difficult, both doing the games, having the struggles that this group had? How tough was it for you and Matt up in the booth doing that?
Yeah, great question, Tausch. I think, obviously it's much more enjoyable when, the team is, blowing people's doors off and you're winning games and you're competing for Big Ten championships. And, unfortunately this year it was a test the other way, and we were able to have some entertainment. We had Matt Davenport and Brooks Bollinger and Coach Kelly Sheffield joining us. We tried to keep it as light as we could, but it was a hard year because every week you went in knowing that the only way you're going to win at any type of level is if the defense played at an incredible level and kept a short field. So as the season was going on and some of the injuries were piling up, I think there was a kind of a thought that this was going to be the way to win. And, I give this team a lot of credit for hanging in there. Luke Fickell kept that locker room together, which in today's college football climate, very difficult to do. And they competed their tookuses off all the way until, that horn blew and the Minnesota fans stormed the field and did the jump around. So it was a little more challenging, no doubt, because I think Matt and I both prefer to, be exulting great things and, really being out there, but you have to call what is going on the field. And unfortunately, this year is a little more negative than what we had hoped. Great question, though.
Talking with Badgers Radio Network analyst Mark Tauscher on Wilde Tausch. Mark, I am curious now, though, after having seen this 4-8 season, and I think there were a lot of folks that were hopeful that after the wins over Washington and Illinois, that maybe there was a corner that had been turned. And winning the finale and regaining the axe would have certainly given an even more positive feelings heading into the offseason. What do you see now as the biggest challenge with the athletic director, Chris McIntosh, having come out and said that obviously Luke Fickell will be back next year? What are the challenges facing the program now from your perspective, Mark, as the radio analyst?
Yeah, Jason, first off, I was able to catch you and Tausch's interview with Chris McIntosh, and I thought you guys asked a lot of really good questions. So kudos to you guys.
Yeah, I thought Tausch was great in that one, yeah.
As far as what the big questions are, this is all about acquiring talent, figuring out how to do that. And obviously Mac, when he was talking to you guys, you talked about the increased investment and everything else, trying to procure more talent because you need to have more depth. And getting the quarterback position right and healthy, through 3 years, it has just been, you've not been able to play with your preferred quarterback for very much of the season, has made it very difficult. So I think you see what the vision is for Luke Fickell and with this team is going to be, you're going to be stout and tough. And what the biggest positive that I saw this year was they really got it right with the front seven, and especially when you put Cooper Catalano and Mason Posa in as your linebackers, that group was salty. And you add all of that depth. And last year when we did this, it was really, sad. The fact that Nebraska and Iowa and Minnesota were able to run the football down our throats was very humbling and something that was obviously unacceptable. We fixed that. I thought we got a lot better at getting in the backfield and for tackles for loss and for sacks. We've improved that, so that now needs to stand, and you obviously are going to have to go out and pick up a bunch of new players in the portal and through your recruiting class because a lot of those guys that were huge, they obviously are going to be gone. So it's a big job to do, and I think with the new resources that are going to be brought in, that should help, but that is going to be the starting point, and then obviously getting better on offense, more explosivity with whomever, if it's going to be wideouts, tight ends, tailbacks, and being a little bit stouter and a little bit better up front on a consistent basis. Just getting guys that you can play, get 5 guys together and let them grow together. That would be, I just mentioned a long list of things because there's a long list of things for this program to do to get back to where we want to be.
Badgers Radio Network analyst Mark Tauscher joining us on Wilde Tausch. Jesse, did you have any questions for Mark?
Yeah, actually. So I was wondering, I've had the chance to host.
Can't use that angle. What are you?
Fan, right?
Say that again. I'm sorry, Tausch. Jason was talking over you.
Oh yeah, Jason was talking over you. That's a shocker. I heard that happens a lot on your guys' show.
Yeah, Tausch deals with that a lot.
Yeah, Jesse is. Well, go ahead. I was just going to say, just wanted to say I saw a picture of you and Barb, and it's just great that you have such a long list of great fans supporting you on your show.
Well, appreciate that. Barb's awesome. And yeah, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton will be back out there for the Barry Alvarez show again tonight from 6 to 7 o'clock on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Barry Alvarez has talked a lot this season about the opportunities for growth and some of the big wins down the stretch here that the team had. We really thought that there was some good momentum heading into this offseason. Looking ahead to next year, is there a metric that you or anyone around the team that you've talked to would set as kind of like, this is the expectation for 2026?
Yeah, it's a great question, Jesse. But, all of that to me right now is premature because we don't even know who's going to be on the roster. Now, you need to go and have a huge portal. Your portal needs to be really good. And, I think this year you saw more players brought in that were a little more impactful. Reiger off of the edge was a fantastic pickup. We're going to need some more of that. But we got to win more football games. All of the other stuff is great to hear, Love the fact that our academics are at where they're at, 94% graduation. All that stuff is fantastic. But the bottom line on this whole deal is winning games. And in the way this is going and with how the schedule lines up next year, you have to go out and win enough. You have to win games, and you have to do it the way you want to do it. And I think you saw a little taste of that at the end of this season. But offensively, it's just going to have to look a lot better and more consistent than what we saw this year.
Tausch, do you have any questions?
I got one last question, if I may. Yeah, one last question. Tausch, I just wanted to ask you to finish up about your crew and, how that went this season. And it looked like it was maybe a little bit cold up in Minnesota.
That's a great question. I do want to say thanks again. Matt is the best in the business. There's nobody better than him. And then you got Patrick Herb and Mike Heller and Dave McCann, who I don't think gets enough love. And he's been doing this 25 years, and I'm amazed. We get done with these games, and we do postgame, and buses are ready to get the heck out of Dodge. We get beat. He's got to do a little Tetris action to get all this stuff shoved in, and we got to get it down to the trucks before we can go. So I just wanted to give a shout-out to him. And then I wanted to ask you guys a question because I took a little heat. It was cold. I did not pack a jacket when I went up to Minnesota. I don't know why I didn't. I had a vest and a sweatshirt. It was freezing up there. Matt opens his window all the way to the top, and we have to duct tape it open. Well, Mike Heller on the other side opens his window about halfway. I can hear the game. I can see the game. I leave my window closed the complete way. And I took a lot of heat for being soft from the boys. You think that's a fair assessment, Jason?
Sounds like you needed a lot of heat, considering you didn't take a jacket.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
That's good. Tausch is good on that stuff. We should ask Tausch what he thinks.
Mark, I respect the work that you do, and I understand that you like to be a tough guy. Remember, you are a Packers Hall of Famer, and you would not wear sleeves in cold weather. I'm a little confused when you have such a great jacket as your Costanza jacket, and you have a great jacket like your rabbit fur jacket. I'm confused how someone with two great jackets would not actually wear one of his two great jackets, keeping in mind, unless you forgot that the Minnesota Gophers play in an outdoor stadium. They don't play in the old Metrodome, which was torn down, or in the new U.S. Bank Stadium, which is indoors. So did you forget where the Gophers play, and is that the reason why you didn't bring a jacket?
No, I knew it would be cold. I thought that the vest and the other clothes would be sufficed.
And you were wrong.
Unfortunately, the wind shoveled through and was blowing snow actually in our booth. We had maybe a half an inch of snow down by.
Is that a concern
feet.
for speaking of Dave McCann and Matt and the whole crew up there, Heller? Is that a concern from an electrical standpoint for your gear? And were they wrong to have been opening their windows instead of you being smart and keeping yours closed?
So you have to have a window open. Like, you have to hear the game. I agreed with that decision. I thought that was great. I don't necessarily love the way the wind was blowing wasn't ideal for us. But as far as the electrical stuff goes now, Dave, I trust Dave. He knows what he's doing. But I do want to say, and I thought this was IPT, and I don't want to throw shade at any of our teammates on the broadcast. But if you're going to throw shade at me for keeping the window closed, which is fair, What I didn't love seeing, and it was not Matt LePay. Matt LePay soldiered on.
Never.
He is a warrior.
Uh-huh.
It might be somebody else that leaves a box full of those little heat packs where you put in your shoes and in your hands.
Yeah, the heat up things, yeah.
They don't share any of them, and they leave the stuff just sitting there afterwards after they have besmirched me as the analyst to not open in my window. He's got a box full of heat packs that he's putting in his hands and in his earmuffs and everything else.
Was it Evan Cohen? Was Evan Cohen there?
Evan Cohen light. But yeah, that's where I thought that was a little bit IPT. But I digress. Again, great. We had a fun season. It was fun in the regards of the crew. Unfortunately, it was not fun on the field, and hopefully next year that will change. So thank you guys for having me on. I got to go. I'm getting in line for tomorrow's Iron Jock contest.
You can't show him on video when he's on the
It's
phone.
hard
It's
to
the
There's a lot of bouncing
whole
around
thing
here.
of the shtick, man.
It's a good text from Josh, though.
Josh and Heartland.